This is another impactful episode of the PSTA Podcast. I am so happy today, ladies and gentlemen, because we have two of our favorite people in the whole wide world, Mr. Jason and Miss Katharine. How are y'all doing today?
Fantastic.
Great.
Thank you, Craig, for having us.
Yeah, so they are from Grand Canyon University, one of our best partners that we have here at PSTA. And I invited them to the PSTA Podcast just to share a little bit about our partnership and some of the great things that Grand Canyon is doing in the realm of education, specifically here in South Carolina. But before we jump into that conversation, I'm going to ask Jason and Katharine to introduce themselves, give us a little background about your journey in education. It doesn't have to be long at all, just a few seconds.
Great. Well, again, thanks a lot for having us today. My name is Jason Tantrum. I've been in education for about 19 years. I'm a former high school teacher, taught high school science, then moved into the higher education realm. I've been here with Grand Canyon University for almost 16 years.
Awesome. Naturally, I'll be a little more long-winded, as is the case, but I'm originally from the small town of Dillon. Both my parents were in education there for 70 years combined, and I graduated from Winthrop with one of my roommates was an education major. I have a degree in music and psychology, so I don't know how I ended up here, but just fake it till you make it. But I have been with Grand Canyon for 8.5 years. Absolutely love it. It's been a wonderful fit. I feel like it's a full circle moment for me because, again, growing up in the education world and now being able to help people. I see people every day in my job, every school that I go to, every conference, somebody needs to further their education and maybe they're stuck and they don't know how. So this has been a wonderfully rewarding career to have, and I'm just so happy to be here, and now here we are.
We are here, and I want to be totally transparent in our conversation, and our listeners know I always do that. So when I started with PSTA in 2011, we had the partnership with GCU already established. I think it was a 5 or 10% discount for our members, really not to the extent of where we are now today. And we're going to talk about that partnership in a little bit, everyone. And so I was under the assumption that GCU was an online college. I'll be completely honest. Had never heard of GCU. And so when I saw it, when I realized it was a school, an actual school.
Yes.
Like
with physical people.
Like with school people that I can see, I was blown away. And another fun fact, this past May, my colleague Tony and I, we were able to visit the campus. And let me tell you something. It is by far one of the greatest campuses I have ever been on. The resources, not just the educational part, but the resources that GCU has at their disposal to affect education globally, but philanthropy, the give back model that y'all have, the intentionality behind everything that you do, the autonomy that y'all have here in South Carolina to make sure that the programming that GCU has created fits South Carolina.
Yeah.
And prior to getting on this call, Jason kind of alluded to that, having that flexibility, and I think that speaks a lot to GCU. So talk about that. Before we talk about our partnership, just talk about the impact that y'all have seen being with GCU 16 and 9 years, correct?
Yeah, we'll just round up.
Yeah, just round it up. So just talk about that for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being with Grand Canyon University, I've been here for 16 years. I've seen it grow from a very small campus over in Phoenix to now over 24,000 kids on campus. It is just immense, the amount of growth that we've had, whether it's the growth through the community, the growth in the campus size, everything else, the growth on the western side of Phoenix that has just done such a fantastic job. It's hard to explain everything Grand Canyon has done in that community, from whether you're rebuilding houses, helping out the community from our police standpoint, everything else, growing parks, growing areas of opportunity for kids. Alhambra School Districts is a great example. We actually put in a scholarship opportunity for them for low-income students. They actually have 30 I believe it's 30 full scholarships that go to those low-income students from Alhambra that otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to go to school. So
That's phenomenal.
Just a lot of great things that we've done for the local community in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And then in South Carolina locally, I mean, I always tell my teachers we are a huge family. Personally, and I've lost count, I think I've enrolled between 500 and 600 ish in the last 8.5 years. And so I get a ton of referrals. And I think it's because people are proud of where they go to school. Mm-hmm. And if they have a good experience, when something exciting happens in your life, you want to share that. So, I mean, I have people that send me their friends and cousins and the teacher across the hall. And so that's been wonderful. And also, and this is the honest truth, I am with my students from the moment they walk into that teacher's lounge to pick up some breakfast through graduation. We do everything with them. We do the enrollment side, answer all the questions. I help them with financial aid, which a lot of people, that's the number one thing that hinders them from going to school, right? I don't know how. It's confusing. I don't want to think about it. I'm going to stay where I am. And so to help that many people and to see them coming back and, you know, maybe they come back for a second degree, but seeing them through the entire process from start to finish, and then even supporting them as an alumni, getting to see the teacher now that 4 or 5 years ago when I met her was a teacher assistant and felt like she didn't know how to become licensed, and getting to see the fruit from that is really a beautiful thing.
That is so great. And thank you for just laying the groundwork from a national side and from a local side, because that in essence is our partnership with PSTA. You know, when both of you were talking, this is what I thought about. I made a note. You know, we've taken a school with national reach, and you have curated services and programming specifically for our South Carolina teachers. And for us with PSTA being a statewide organization where all of our members are here in the state of South Carolina, that means a lot to us. And over the years, we have seen this partnership with Grand Canyon University flourish and be beneficial for both GCU as well as PSTA. Mm-hmm. So thank you. I know I said it off camera, or not off camera, but off the podcast multiple times, but thank you for the partnership. Thank you for this meeting. Mm-hmm. We were not supposed to be recording the podcast today. I'm going to be totally honest with the people today. Surprise. We just had a regular meeting, and then I had an idea. I said, I want y'all to come on our podcast.
And here we are.
And
5 minutes later.
Here we are.
You get the unfiltered, uncut version.
Yes. I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see by the end of it.
We will see.
Thankful I have editing rights.
That's right.
Yes.
So let's talk about some of the great things that you're doing here in South Carolina, and then kind of loop in how PSTA has kind of served as a enhancement of the services that you're offering.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the number one thing Katharine touched on is that we have a full service process here in South Carolina, and that we have 6 representatives around the state of South Carolina that really help all the teachers, teacher assistants try to become licensed, add to their licensure, add certificates, whatever it may be, to help them out. And obviously we don't just talk about enrolling into Grand Canyon.
Right.
There's a lot of different things that come into being a teacher, and how am I going to pay for this? What kind of opportunities are out there? Obviously we have this great scholarship that we've developed with PSTA that is just absolutely added so much to becoming a member. Mm-hmm. On top of all the great benefits you guys already have, now you can save a large amount of money. We typically are running a cohort almost every month with you guys. It's a 25% scholarship that really just, I mean, from a tuition standpoint, you are saving a great amount of money. Mm-hmm. And that's just because you're a member here at PSTA. So from a local perspective, obviously we have representatives throughout the state. Many of them were former teachers, so they understand the requirements here within the Palmetto State. It really gives us an opportunity to show them a good path, paint them a good picture of what it takes to be successful getting your next degree, or show them the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. So, so folks like Katharine, just all across the state, we're here to help out and hopefully answer any questions that they have.
Yeah. Katharine, you want to add anything?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, I start my approach with every person as just being a resource, because we don't know. They might already have their plus 30 and their doctorate and everything else. So to your point, Jason, we really try to just be that resource up front, answer questions about loan forgiveness, teach grant, all of those things. And if they enroll, fantastic. And that's obviously, a great thing for that to come to fruition. But initially, we just try to give them the information. And we'll be honest. I mean, I have a lot of people that I might do an evaluation for. Hey, you're 75% of the way through at your current school. As much as I would love for you to come to us, it makes more financial sense for you and your family to stay there. So we really do try to take, some of the equation out of it just so we can be that unbiased third party.
That is so good to hear you say that. And I've already known that your approach is one that is professional, but also understanding of the unique situations that each teacher finds themselves
exactly.
in. Whether it's a veteran teacher, whether it's a teacher's aide, whether it's a paraprofessional, whether it's a nurse or whoever is working in the schools, y'all have so much support for them that is individualized. And so I love the component that Jason alluded to initially about the scholarship that we have, but also what you talked about, the support that just doesn't end when we bring you into a cohort. Like so talk about the support that teachers will receive from not only being a member of PSTA, which I can speak to, right? But from a GCU standpoint about that support that just doesn't end even when they graduate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the very beginning, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you a clear path to graduation. So when Katharine comes in, she'll speak to you and she'll talk to you a little bit about the program. If it's a good fit for you, then we're going to move forward with giving you an idea of when you're going to graduate. We lay out all the courses for you so you know exactly what that path looks like, when the light at the end of the tunnel actually shows up.
And it's not a train.
And it's not a train, although it feels like it right at the start.
Yeah.
But at the end, you're done and you graduate and you have the support. If you need something, you're not just online. You have someone local that you can reach out to. You can talk to them. You can ask questions. Most of our counselors have already been in our program, so they've graduated. So you can ask questions about the online format. You can ask questions about the professor. You also have support from the financial aid standpoint. You're assigned to somebody that is not overwhelmed. It's not just a financial aid department. You have one specific person that you can call, and they will help you out with any of your financial aid questions. But if not, you have a liaison right here in Katharine, your local representative that knows anything about South Carolina. If she doesn't know it, she's going to ask questions. We go do the research for you. We'll find it for you so you don't have to go do all that extra work. We try to do the footwork for you and make it as easy as possible for this process.
And
Yeah.
I was going to say, y'all
Go
are
ahead.
talking the talk because I can speak to our partnership when we have questions about something. They are doing the legwork, a lot of the legwork for us, and making sure that we have the right support that we need. And so we're very appreciative. So, Katharine, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to say, I tell my students, if you will just do your work, then let us handle the rest. We will financial aid schedule. Students never have to register for class with us, which is pretty unheard of. The schedule is built. The advisor does it automatically. I remember registering for classes in college, and it was like getting Taylor Swift tickets. Everybody was on at one time, and Jason's laughing because it's true. Everybody was on at one time, and you didn't get what you wanted. You didn't get the time you wanted, the day. You don't have to do any of that. Your financial aid, your advisor handles that. If you're in a licensure program, you're going to have a teacher placement counselor. You're going to have an education specialist for your practicum hours. Grand Canyon does a fantastic job of having all these different departments behind the scenes. So nobody is a jack of all trades. Everybody is in a specific role for the most efficiency and the best experience. And that has proven itself time and time again with all of my teachers, and just how easy, is a relative term. It's convenient. And it's set up for success. And I think that speaks to our extremely high graduation rate locally. And I could go on, but it's a wonderful place to be.
And I've bought Taylor Swift tickets. It
is a nightmare.
I have not bought Taylor Swift tickets, but from the
12-year-old
stories that
daughter.
I've heard,
Well, it's the best analogy I could think of in the moment.
I have some friends that purchased Taylor Swift tickets, and they probably would agree.
Yeah.
And so to make this very personal to our listeners, to our members, for teachers that are thinking about joining the GCU and PSTA families, it's so important to know, if we look at the relationships that matter in our lives, if we look at all the ones that we hold in high regard and value, we can point to the little things that they've done in those relationships that matter. Not the big things, showing up to the wedding or showing up to the big life events where everybody's there, but those little personal moments where you need support, that's how I visualize, and that's what I've seen, everyone. Like, that's what I've seen from Grand Canyon in our partnership, but also how they treat our members, right?
Yeah.
You know, not holding your hand, but being there alongside you while you navigate this space. And I think that is such a great thing for us to highlight in this partnership.
I think that's why it's such a great partnership, because PSTA does the same thing. You know, you guys line yourself up with the teachers, you support your teachers. We want to do the same thing. So I think that's just why it lines up to be such a great partnership, because we do walk hand in hand. We don't hold your hand, but we are going to guide you in the right direction, help you make the best decisions. And having the support locally is just something that you don't expect from a school where you're going to class online.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, you thought it was an online school.
I did.
You have a traditional campus. Well, we want to create a traditional feel in every local capacity that we possibly can. If you meet up with Katharine at your school and we're able to talk to you, if we don't finish everything up, we'll probably meet you at Starbucks and go for a coffee and get everything taken care of. So there's a lot of different things that we do to try to make it personal. If you are running short on time and it's it's Sunday and you have an assignment due and you can't figure it out, I'm telling you, most of the time you call one of our counselors up and they will probably answer for you on Sunday.
Yeah.
That is just how much
That's awesome.
energy we put into all of our students here.
That's awesome. So before we wrap up, because look, I told you it's easy to let a podcast get away.
Yeah.
You'll plan for 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes.
I'm serious. I did one. We planned for 10 to 15. We were on for 30 minutes. And it was just a great conversation. It's easy. But I want to talk about some things that y'all want to talk about as it relates to our current members. Because, someone listening could think, hey, PSTA and GCU, they're focusing on recruiting new members to GCU, new members to PSTA. But let's talk about some of our current PSTA members, some benefits that they can have with GCU.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're trying to put together a couple cohorts for middle of November. We're going to put a graduate level cohort together. That is anywhere from reading program, administration,
Curriculum, technology, autism, special education, secondary. I mean, and that's just a few highlights.
Yeah, even graduate certificates. So if you're looking for your graduate certificate in TESOL or something along those lines, we have those opportunities for you. And then we're going to look at kind of a grow your own type of program for December. And that is going to be your undergrad level, looking for licensure. We can help in that direction as well. Now, some folks don't know that if you have a bachelor's degree, but you don't have a license yet, you don't have to go back and do a bachelor's degree. So maybe you're looking for licensure and you already have a bachelor's degree.
Or credits.
We can help you in that aspect as well. You can get your graduate degree that leads to licensure as well. So not only are you getting your master's degree, you're getting your license, but when you get hired, you get your master's pay.
Wow.
Right off the bat.
I love that. See, it pays its benefits in other ways to be members of PSTA, but also connected to GCU. So I just want to thank both of you for your time today. Again, I can keep going. If y'all want to keep going, we can keep going. But I also understand the time of our teachers, and they've told us like 20 minutes is the cap when it comes to listening to a podcast. Maybe 25 minutes.
I can't believe it's been 20 minutes.
It's been 20 minutes. But before we go, I want you to give you the floor to share anything that you wanted to share about GCU with our listeners.
Well, I will say, speaking from experience and working with so many, our process alleviates the cycle of saying, well, I can't make more money until I go back to school, but I can't go back to school until I make more money. So the way our program is structured, you take one course every 6 to 8 weeks. You're still a full-time student for financial aid, which is, again, is the number one reason why people, hinder themselves from doing it or stop themselves, is because they don't understand the financial aspects. So you pay nothing out of pocket during your program at Grand Canyon, and that is probably one of the top reasons why people come here. And then when you graduate, you can use income-based repayment, which, again, we will talk with you on an individual basis about that. But if nothing else we've said has enticed you, you can get a scholarship and you don't have to pay anything until you graduate, and even then it's income based. So now the floodgates can open with all the people that need help.
Thank you, Katharine. Jason.
Absolutely. I guess the last thing is just, thanks a lot for the opportunity. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having us down here. We came up with some great ideas today. We did a podcast.
That's right. Didn't plan on it.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. But we sure appreciate the opportunity as always, Craig. Thank you very much. And looking forward to much more to come from PSTA and Grand Canyon.
Well, thank you, Katharine and
Thank
Jason.
you.
And so if you want more information, there will be a link in our link tree. We'll have a QR code created. So if you want to access any of the information we talked about today, or just to find out more information, you'll be able to contact our friends at GCU. This has been another impactful episode of the PSTA Podcast. I'm Craig King, your host. I'll see you next time.